All right. Hello, everybody in Facebook land. This is the
Woo-hoo.
very first live broadcast from Earth Station Trek.
Yeah.
Our signal is
Huzzah!
our signal is beaming down to Earth from, our space station, which of course we all live on. So we normally get introduced on our podcast by Charles. So Charles, why don't you take it away and do your usual shtick?
Welcome back to Earth Station Trek, a show where we trek from the early days on NBC to the future on Paramount Plus and everywhere in between. I'm Charles Kelso, and it's my privilege to introduce the Earth Station Trek crew: Keith Johnson,
Greetings, all.
Alan Seiler,
Sup?
and Veronica Dashel.
Hi.
So, okay, do you have that written down, or do you just have it memorized? And it's like a perfect spiel.
Yes.
Thanks.
And the
No, I don't have it
perfect
written
radio
down.
announcer
I think I have it written down from
Right.
when we first started
Right.
8 months ago. But
I know,
now
but
I just say it.
It just rolls off the tongue.
Okay, Keith, I have a question. Earlier, did you say huzzah or kapla?
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Okay.
Huzzah!
Okay. I just wanted to know which reference you were doing. Just wanted to check in.
Both work, so
Yes.
Yeah.
They
She
can go
thought she
either
had
way.
She thought she had some competition on the Klingon.
And just so you know, that huzzah goes all the way back to Fractured Fairy Tales, which may not mean anything to you.
It does.
Yeah.
Hell yes, it does.
That's
Absolutely.
And Renfest. I mean,
Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Yep.
All right, so Charles, what are we doing tonight?
Tonight we're talking about the Star Trek Day, both the show and a lot of information we got out of Star Trek Day. Trailers, casting announcements, fun times just from the cast and crew. I had fun just, even if there was nothing new information, I just have fun watching them all hang out and show up.
I was going to say, what did y'all think of the whole show without getting into detail yet? What did you think of the whole presentation?
I overall enjoyed it. The red carpet was fun. I wish there was more. I'll never rephrase this. I wish there was less people gushing about what just happened, and more actually talking to the people instead of recapping literally what we just watched.
Okay.
Because if you missed it, then you missed it. Sorry. Watch it later on streaming. My
Right.
thoughts.
Okay.
I could have done without the half hour of reading tweets.
Yes.
I felt like maybe they were having a technical issue or something backstage and they needed to vamp. But on the whole, I liked it a lot. It reminded me a lot of watching the 30th anniversary special back in '96. There was a on UPN had a big special where it was a black tie event and there was old Star Trek cast members and current Star Trek cast members and just fun Star Trek evening. And it made me think of that a lot.
I came in late from work, so I came in actually I had band practice that night, so I missed most of the whole thing. So I came in right at the tweet reading, and I was like, "Oh, this is not fun."
It was funny.
Poor tweet girls.
Yeah, it was funny, Alan, because we got your instant message where you said, "Hey, I thought this thing was supposed to be over," because originally they said it was going to be a 2-hour show.
Right.
Over 3 hours, right? So
Right.
You came in and still got some stuff.
Yeah, so I came in at the part where I thought I'm going to catch the last couple of minutes and then I'll watch the whole thing from the top. And they're like, "We're about to start the second half." And I was like, "What?
Yeah.
What?" So
I thought it was pretty good too. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I think in time of COVID, you can tell that they had to do certain things in terms of to your point, Charles, about them kind of vamping. You could tell some of it had almost not that they didn't practice, but some of it seemed like maybe they, like you said, they were vamping because I know they had to do special arrangements for COVID. I thought it was interesting. For example, the Star Trek, the Strange New Worlds cast said several times how COVID was pretty much permeated everything they did in filming.
Oh yeah.
So I kind of got that impression with that thing there. I don't know if they got some of the guests they would have gotten and the way they had to set the thing up. So it had kind of an informal thing to it, but I thought the enthusiasm stuff really played well. So I
thought having a live orchestra was really cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. With Jeff Russo conducting.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that.
I really want to know if Jerry O'Connell actually crashed or if that was a planned thing or he just made that joke on the red carpet and then they're like, "Hey, that's really funny. Let's work that into our panel thing." I feel like that's what happened.
Well, it seemed like he at least he wasn't in the teleprompter. So I think they knew he was there.
Yeah.
And they planned for him to come up on stage, but they made a bit out of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, he had a microphone when they introduced him and
Yes.
brought a chair out. So I mean, it wasn't like he just all of a sudden charged the stage. But
Yeah.
Right.
But I don't know if they.
Which happened at Dragon
available.
Con. Just saying. Not Jerry O'Connell, but
No,
I was going to say he
Drama.
wasn't there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
All right, so let's start talking about the stuff that happened during the show. What was since I didn't get to see the whole broadcast, what was the first big announcement that happened?
Which one came first, Keith? Do you remember?
I don't remember which one was first.
It's all kind of a blur.
I want to say Picard, but I may be wrong with that.
Well, you want to start there?
Sure.
Actually, we'll start in whatever order you have your images
They're in separate
arranged.
Okay. So we want to talk about Picard?
Yeah, I went through and collected some screen cap images that we can go through as well. Now, I didn't try to get every frame of this thing. It's not quite that kind of a deep dive, but just some things for us to talk about. Excellent.
One thing that was kind of nice was the fact that they were showing the trailers for the new series there for the shows.
Yeah,
I was doing YouTube at the same time, and I was texting YouTube to friends and stuff. And I don't know why, for some reason, it didn't occur to me that they might be showing some of the actual trailers. So that was kind of interesting. The Picard trailer. I went into this as blind as possible, so I didn't even know. Until almost the last minute that there were trailers out for the shows, even on YouTube. So it was kind of nice to be along with the audience and watch the trailers come out. And the trailer for Picard has me intrigued. I'll say that.
Yeah. What it looks like is, can you guys see my screen? Can you see the image of Picard? Yeah, it looks like, something's happened to history. The Federation is now a totalitarian regime, and our heroes having to go back in time and save history. Which I mean, that's classic Star Trek stuff right there.
Yeah, I'm curious to figure out how they're going to explain just these people. Remember the other.
Well, one of them has a buddy who's an omnipotent alien.
That's
exactly
true. Guinan.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
No, I'm talking about Q.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that too.
Well, who are you talking about?
Guinan. Because she's one, she's supposed to be back, and two, the last time they were in an alternate universe, she was like, "This is wrong."
Yeah,
right, and so she's been conspicuously absent from all the announcements and trailers thus far. So I think she's being sort of like held back for some kind of reveal.
I don't know why, because he asked her to be on it on her TV show months ago.
A
so
year
everyone
ago.
knows. Yeah.
Okay,
so,
but as it's going along too, though, it looks like Picard is having some flashbacks to his early life.
Yeah,
you start off with this scene with him walking into this sort of looks like a conservatory at the at a chateau, and or maybe this is when Picard is remembering his other life. I don't know. We don't know, but it's some really interesting imagery of what looks like young
Charles.
Yeah,
sorry. It's funny, you did some great screen caps, because I saw that and I rewound it a couple of times, and I have in my notes, what is that? I don't even know the significance of that piece of glass in a rose.
Yeah, it looks like maybe a glass tile or a piece of a mosaic of some kind, something that's jogging his memory, something from his past.
Yeah,
because we get all this shot. It looks like young Picard, perhaps, in this conservatory.
I like Q. I like Q's look. I like the hair. I like the little mustache and the beard. I wonder if they'll make a joke about Q aging himself so that Picard doesn't feel so bad. You know what I mean?
Delancey has already made that joke in interviews, so I'm sure it's in there somewhere.
And he did that in All Good Things when Picard was old, and Q turned himself into an old man as well to make fun of him. Yeah, with the long white hair and everything.
So I just want to interject real quick for the people who are watching. If you have comments or questions about anything that we talk about, wait, there is already one.
Hey.
RL Gray says, for the record, I neither want nor need an explanation about Q looking older. There you go. I mean, fair point. Fair point.
Yeah, Q can look however he wants.
Exactly.
and if I could look like this, I might do that.
Right.
And it looks like Rios is in La Sirena. La Sirena looks transformed, perhaps. Well, at least the lighting and color scheme is very different.
Mm.
But these shots I thought were pretty evocative. Sort of the totalitarian federation. Is what it looks like.
Love this.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, everybody in black, kind of reminiscent of the Nazis. And
it's kind of like doing a Mirror Universe episode without actually going to the Mirror Universe.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And Seven looks quite Seven-ish, even though she doesn't have her implants.
Yep.
You know, just the sort of the cut of her uniform and the way she's holding herself.
Yeah.
And of course, Picard.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to see. And this wasn't okay. That was in the original trailer.
Yeah.
You didn't know a placement. You didn't know when or how it was taking place, but you saw her seeing herself in the mirror and noticing her missing implants, and I was like very intrigued by that.
So, do we think they were removed, or was she never assimilated?
Never assimilated is my guess.
Yeah,
that's what I'm wondering too.
Could be.
Earth. Maybe her parents didn't take that silly mission in the first.
Well, they may have and not taken her with them.
Yeah.
You know, I think maybe she was left behind on Earth with grandparents or something, and rose to power alongside Picard somehow.
And I'm surprised that seems like a storyline that Voyager would have done at some point. Is what if 7 of 9 was never assimilated?
Yeah,
you know,
right.
That seems like a very Voyager-esque thing to do.
Right.
Yeah, the Voyager probably never would have gotten home.
Yeah.
The way they
there is something really bizarre going on with both of these guys' hair.
Yeah. Well,
Space Legolas looks very different this season, and Rafi's hair is really kind of like flat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I guess they're in their alternate reality guises, you know. Maybe Picard has to go round up the gang.
Yeah.
I love this.
Yes.
I love this Picard painting. Just for one, a great painting of younger Patrick Stewart, but also sort of this dark version of the old Monster Maroons from the movie era style uniform.
Yep.
Here we go.
Queen.
Yeah.
She looks so good too.
She does.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with her.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And yeah, she just looks. It's kind of weird. It looks like they go find her to use her to go back in time, and like the Federation or whomever has her just like in a closet somewhere, like she's captured. You know,
they've just got her stored in a jar.
Yeah, go pull her out.
Just the head and the spine.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah, and then they're back in time to well, it looks like near future at least.
Yeah,
and Los Angeles.
Well, filming modern day is less expensive.
True.
Yep.
Yeah.
Than having to build futuristic sets.
Yeah. I hope the whole season isn't present day, though. I hope that we get some time in present day, but
right.
I would expect to. I mean, what they've done before is when we get these trailers, they're from like the first few episodes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Here's La Sirena again.
Who's
R.L. Gray says about Rafi, maybe this totalitarian future won't let black women have natural hair. Wow.
Okay.
That's where it looks like that's where they're going into the
a conservatory type area. That's what it looks
from
like.
the first.
I love this little bit. I want more of this kind of stuff with Rafi and Seven.
You can drive a starship, but you can't drive.
Yeah, that's sort of Star Trek 4-ish.
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize Keith had left, and now he's back in, and I never let him back on the screen. Sorry about that. I didn't know that you had dropped out.
Right.
Yes.
You able to hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. It's not you. It was technical difficulties on my side. So I had to. So let me run back real quick. So one question I think you mentioned was there's always this question in time travel. Why do the people who travel remember, which is not a big deal. But question, when we see the picture of Picard, the portrait of Picard, who's looking like he's some kind of fascist or whatever.
Yeah.
Is the Picard that is now in that timeline, is that him? That's the same person. In other words, there's not two Picards in that timeline, right? When he looks at that picture, he's looking at his younger self, and he is now that older self in that fascist.
That's how it
reality.
appears. It looks like reality's changed around them.
Yeah.
From the
exactly.
From the 2 minutes that we've seen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It looks like something shifts. They are they are in a present that is now completely rewritten, and they jump back in time to wherever the nexus point is.
Yeah.
Nexus point.
And I would expect that with the shots that we saw in the first trailer where Picard and Raffi were back at Starfleet, the flags and everything, that's maybe that's the beginning, and then you cut to this alternate version, and we have that counterpointed with this totalitarian, Nazi style chamber.
Yeah,
right. But if we remember, the shots in the Federation Council in the first trailer shows the flags of lots of different races.
Oh yeah,
and some of them, if I'm remembering rightly, wasn't there like a Bajoran flag too? Like, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was
something that wasn't you don't think of as a Federation race.
Right. Well, I think there was a Klingon also. So
there was Klingon
going on. Yeah, it may have just been.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a Cardassian?
There might have been, but whatever was going on seems peaceful.
Yeah.
As opposed
to
1984 Federation.
Yes.
All right, we got Picard in a tux. Here's the gang.
They're all in all black.
Soji, finally.
Yeah.
Be
interested to see what that's about.
I don't know. Be interested to see how she ties into it. But this looks like we're back in that conservatory with perhaps young Picard and his mother.
I didn't think about that.
That's my guess.
Same here.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a possibility, definitely.
Yeah, I don't remember all the details. I think it was his mother that showed up in that early, like where no one has gone before episode as an older version.
Yes, that was her.
Yes,
he called her.
But I don't remember the details of if she inspired him to go to space at all, or what that relationship. I feel like his father was more like his brother, and so perhaps Picard was more like his mother. But like I said, I don't remember exactly.
Yeah,
right.
In trouble. I like to see Picard at the console doing something.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay.
So we've got Q in what looks like a modern day space, agency outfit with a Europa patch.
Yep.
So popping in and out.
Yep.
And then this sort of ET-ish looking scene, which might be something, it might have a, Captain Braxton style situation this kicks this whole thing off.
I can't tell who any of those characters are.
No, they're nobody we know. Not so far as I can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hope we get a lot of Girardi and the Borg Queen.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a great pairing.
I think Girardi will become the next Borg Queen.
Ooh.
So
I don't really think.
So the Borg Queen is how they're doing the time travel, looks like?
Well,
that's certainly what the trailer leads us to believe.
The trailer implies that. I mean, she knows how.
Right?
Yeah. Because
she has technology or has access to it at least.
And it's funny, since I'm old school, when he said there's different ways to travel back in time, I'm thinking they're going to take his ship toward the sun at warp 9 and curve around it.
They may. The editing of the trailer certainly may lead you to an incorrect assumption.
Yeah, definitely.
And they may simply slingshot. Who knows?
Yeah. Or go find Carl.
Yeah. I thought Seven or Annika's reaction was interesting. When they kind of flash and you see her basically recoil from the Borg Queen, which I thought was kind of fascinating.
Yeah, naturally.
Yeah, she would.
Oh, that's going to be a great confrontation.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
So I'm going to just say real quickly once again, anybody who's watching, if you have question or comment about anything that we're discussing, please drop your comment in and we will address it as quickly as we can.
Yeah, feel free to jump in. That's the fun of doing it live.
Absolutely.
One thing, Alan, you mentioned about we can't tell for sure if and I'm calling her Annika now if she's not 7, but she's still 7.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
Very clever of you.
An interesting thought would be if she's not a Borg, when they get into trouble, how much has she relied on her Borg abilities? Because she still has greater strength, greater endurance than humans.
Exactly. That's a good point.
Yeah, the Borg nanites help her heal. All these help her be resistant to certain disease. It'd be interesting if she's 100% human. She's always hated her Borg parts, her Borg identity, the fact that she was a Borg. It'd be interesting if she finds herself missing some of those Borg abilities. In
I bet she's going to.
I bet so too.
Yeah.
So, like in situations when she has like recall of what species 8472 is and things like that,
right?
Is that her own memory, or does she have access to like a database? And will she not have access to that?
Yeah.
Once all those implants are gone.
Right.
Exactly.
Ooh, and that's going to be interesting.
That's a good thought, Keith.
Yeah, she always had fast healing and resistance to certain diseases because those nanites in her bloodstream as a Borg. And I just wonder if that would all be gone now if she's not a Borg.
Right. The good thing to note is that her natural snarkiness did not come from Borg implants, and she retains that.
Right.
Good point. Good point.
I'm glad to see Orla Brady back as Laris.
Yeah.
And it looks like
too, man.
It looks like she's with him on the adventure.
She was one of my favorite characters from the first season.
Yeah, that's when he left Earth. I was like, where are you going? Why aren't you taking Laris with you?
Right.
Like, you've got these Romulan assassins, bring them along.
Yep.
Yes.
And it looks like she doesn't remember, based on just this one image, it doesn't look like she's part of the group of folks that remember the other.
Well, I don't know. It looks like she's back in time, unless they're wearing these suits in the future. Right. I assumed these suits were them blending in history somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Right.
True.
Rafi. Now have you guys read anything about this guy? Because fans have kind of gone crazy about this guy.
I haven't seen much.
And
yet.
Identifying this as I can't remember his name now. The actor who played on the USS Relativity on Voyager, who was second in command to Braxton.
Oh.
People are saying that this is that actor.
Oh. Huh. I hadn't heard that yet.
Huh. Now, if they're right, that opens up some intriguing possibilities that he could be the character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got time shenanigans going on here.
Well, they had so many characters last season that they didn't hire the original actor for. It would be funny if they hired an original actor to play a totally different character. Right. Nothing even related.
He's playing Bruce Maddox.
They'll have a different actor playing Bruce Maddox every season.
Right.
Maddox. I have, poor Maddox.
Well, whoever he is in this scene, I'm hoping for one of those Captain Kirk interrogation scenes, like when he was captured back in time in Tomorrow's Yesterday. That ought to be just about right. Kind of I hope this is a fun scene. I hope there's fun this season.
Yeah, agreed.
Agreed. That brings us to the end. Now, I didn't capture an image I meant to capture, which was a Raffi and Seven, but there's a sign in the background that refers to the sanctuary districts.
Oh yeah.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I thought I had it in here, but I didn't. But it's now it might just be a throwaway on-set Easter egg. But
from Deep Space Nine.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, which would be pretty intriguing if
yes.
Now, whether they mention it or not, though, it's just kind of cool to have it as a background thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So from the two-parter where Cisco and company ended up going back in time during the time of the Bell riots and all those things, those are the sanctuary discs.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay, I completely missed that, and I watched this trailer 4 times.
I think I did too, at least that many times, and I didn't catch that.
Yeah, you got to be reading the signage in the background to catch that.
Right.
One. But yeah, I meant to capture that image. Now, did you guys want to continue on with the next set of screen captures?
Yeah, sure. Let's go on.
Okay.
Yeah.
That way I don't have to stop and start sharing.
Right.
So I figure we just go straight into Strange New Worlds.
Absolutely. The one that I'm most excited for.
Me too.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah. And I love these new uniforms. Go ahead.
One point about Picard.
Yes.
Did they make a big deal during the show about some announcement about it being commissioned for a 3rd season?
They did.
Yeah.
So what? I don't understand, because that's been in the news all over the place, and we have known for months that they were filming seasons 2 and 3 together.
That's right.
So it's not like this is a brand new development. Like they have just, hey, let's have a season 3. No, this has been a known thing for at least 6 months.
Yeah,
and they're we just confirmed that we could share this.
Yeah, maybe they just never announced it officially. I don't know.
That is true. It came from John Delancey in an interview, and I don't think he was supposed to have said that.
No, and he's been dropping a lot of things in his cameos when he records cameos for people and just like tells them Picard spoilers and things.
Yeah, and I wonder then, does that to your question about excuse me, Whoopi Goldberg? I wonder, does that mean is she coming in later and maybe later in season 2, even in season 3? One other real quick thing, and I apologize, I'm going backwards because I faded out for a second. Do we even know why? Is this this whole time travel thing? Is it simply Q sent Picard back? Is it a lesson, another lesson? It's not like, in other words, does Q cause all this?
I think so.
I feel like he does.
Only because there's that moment in the trailer where he says, "If you remember, Jean-Luc, the last thing I said to you, the trial never ends."
And then Picard goes, "I'm too old for this bull."
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if this is some kind of like Q mock-up of what humanity could have become. I don't know why.
Or it could be that something's happened and Q is giving Picard a chance to fix it.
Possibly. Very possible.
I guess I could go either way, really, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, and one last final comment is that Patrick Stewart, he looks kind of frighteningly good in that guise as the fascist leader. Not that I'm supporting fascists, but man, the look on his face, his bearing, he'd be a great fascist leader. Horrible thing to say.
Yeah, he's rocking it.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Strange New Worlds.
And boy, we got a lot of information in this one.
We did, and for such a short video.
Yeah.
But I mean, my first thought was the uniforms. I just love this new version of the uniforms.
I don't know. I mean, I liked the ones they had last year.
I like them, but they seem very like sort of militaristic and crisp, but they seem less original series to me than these do.
Well, I mean that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it makes sense to transition from one to the other.
It does. That's absolutely right.
And up till now, I would have said that my favorite reimagining of those original uniforms was Star Trek Beyond. But I like these a little better because the Star Trek Beyond has that sort of weird high collar.
Yeah.
But I like the way they've integrated the texturing here and given it that V-neck. I think it looks very good. And they've changed up Pike's hair a bit, which looks good.
Yeah.
Got a comment coming in.
Uh-oh.
R.L. Gray. I'm so excited about, was that Cadet Uhura?
Yep, she's on here.
So I realized I should have put that comment up when we get to her. So I'll display it again.
Okay.
Cool. Okay.
Ethan Peck, same sort of new uniform. They've changed his hair, which I like.
Yeah.
He had he was only sort of classic Spock for,
like 30 seconds.
Without the beard and everything, right? But the hair was very sort of helmet looking last time.
Very.
So and this, I think, is more reminiscent of the Cage and Where No Man Has Gone Before, where he's a little more ruffled looking.
Yeah, I think.
And that's something they were talking about in the panel was that this is Spock between the pilots. He's not the settled Spock that we know as Spock. So they've got some room to play. And I just want to say too, I love this blue grid starfield behind him because that looks like the one on the original series, but updated, more detailed.
Yeah. And to your point, Charles, and Ethan Peck even mentioned when Misha Burton asked the people about what did they like about the show and what did they take from it. He mentioned that he got to look into Spock's viewing device, which he didn't get to do on Discovery, and he said that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
and to kind of expand on what you're talking about when they Goldsmith and the other gentleman, when they were talking about Spock, you're right. They mentioned that basically they were going to deal with the fact that Spock broke into a big smile on the original pilot when they were, when they saw those crazy plants where the leaves were making the music. He bust into a big old smile. And then the line I always think of, people always talk about, is when they were beaming down to the planet and only the women were taken, and Spock yells, "The women!" And he jumps off the thing. And they actually said that we're gonna have to deal with that emotional Spock. We're not gonna write that out.
And they sort of addressed that already in that short trek that they did.
Q&A.
So,
but also Spock and Where No Man Has Gone Before, and even into Corbomite and Mud's and Women, he was still very sort of smirky and more emotional.
Yep.
Yeah, we talked about Mud's Women when he came in with the big smile.
Yeah.
Looking forward to this one. To this one.
We've got a name for number one now, an official name.
Yeah, a full name. Look at that.
Yeah.
Hey, we got another comment from R.L. Gray about Spock, though. Peck was probably wigged up as classic Spock in Disco. This looks like his real hair.
Yeah.
Talking about the helmet here.
Yeah, I think so too. Too. But yeah, what do we think of Una's name, Una Chin Riley? Yeah,
it's fine.
They've given number one various names in the books over the years, and I never really cared for that. But I think it's more intriguing of why this person doesn't have a name. But I mean,
so you want to just have her left as number one?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I thought they were going to do that too. I literally thought she was going to be number one. You're right. I thought that
it's worked so far.
Her name. Yeah.
But I mean, I guess they've got a storyline figured out for her, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I like this variant of the uniform as well. It's sort of similar to something Michael Burnham would have wore, but
I like this a lot. I like this a lot with the black side panel and the open zipper. I think this looks really sharp.
And that collar is a little bit reminiscent of the female uniforms from the Cage anyway, with that they had that different collar.
Yeah, it kind of does. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited about her because she's a character that we had and never got her due. So and the book is wide open on her. So I'm really excited about number one just to see what's going to happen with her. That's awesome. Yeah.
And then we have Cadet Uhura.
Yes,
with a redesigned earpiece, and looks like she has a. But if you notice, she's got the same cadet badge that Tilly had, so that's a nice carry through.
Huh. Good call.
Yeah. So what do we think about Uhura?
Well, R.L. Gray is excited about her.
Oh, good.
Now that I have displayed his comment at the appropriate moment.
And this is one that we had put together several months back. So it made me laugh in the panel when they said, "How did you keep that secret all this time?" I was like, well, we were talking about it 6 months ago.
I was like, people weren't listening to our podcast because we had it. We had all these legacy characters. We had them.
We had it figured out.
We knew it. We're up to their tricks. We know.
Is she at what seems to be communications in this?
No, not if it's in the same place. Now the bridge configuration could be different, but it looks like she's over to the sort of the other side of where Spock is, you know, instead of behind the captain.
Okay.
But and like we said, but she's a big like musical theater Broadway person in real life. So I'm demanding singing on the ship.
Yes, without a doubt.
Where my heart is. She's got to sing that again.
Yeah, and Beyond Antares.
Yes,
Charlie. I mean, Charlie's not there yet, but
Yeah, Charlie's our new Darlie.
Yep.
She's another one like number one where even though Uhura has been around for decades, we know so little about her, honestly.
Yeah, and she's never been really developed.
No,
absolutely. So this is another chance to shine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, then we've got Nurse Chapel.
I think it's really, really interesting that two different Majel Barrett characters are in. Now, all we have to do is have Loxana Troy somehow time shift back and appear in an episode and have all three of her characters in one.
I'm there.
And I think Anson Mount made a joke about that too, about both, them both being on the cast.
Yeah.
That was so funny. That's another one.
But again, a character that we know, except for the one episode where she's like chasing her husband or whatever it was, we just don't know that much. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing all three of these characters really fleshed out.
Yeah. And
that's true. Yes.
And they mentioned in the panel that there were some unrequited or undeveloped relationships from the original series that they wanted to develop. And so, I mean, Uhura and Chapel and Spock were the three people who came to mind. Because Uhura and Spock had that sort of little flirtation early on, but then I mean, famously, Nurse Chapel sort of pined for Spock. So it'd be I'm interested to see what they do with these characters.
Yeah, me too. I'm interested because that's the thing. You don't want the women defined by their affection for a man. So it's interesting to see how the power dynamics can probably have to change a little bit. And the guy you're mentioning too, Roger Corby. It'll be interesting if he's even mentioned, and has he already disappeared by this time? Yeah, because that was her fiance, and then he disappeared for years. And of course, they went and found out he was on the planet making androids.
Right. So. I remember correctly. That's why she joined the Starfleet in the first place, and she left behind her career as a biologist or whatever she was to go into nursing. But I know now this might be the lighting, but it looks like she's got that sort of platinum blonde look, like
it does.
Majel Barrett would wear, and that.
So R.L. Gray says, wasn't Majel's digitized voice supposed to be the computer voice on Disco?
I know that she had they've said that she recorded a bunch of things with one of those companies to digitize her voice.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it was ever in the works for Discovery or not. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But if they wanted to, I mean, her son's one of the producers, so they certainly could do that anytime they want.
I'm sure he would
feasible.
okay it.
Yeah. I'd be okay with that. It'd be a little bit weird, but kind of sweet.
I would love it.
Yeah.
So the opportunity for not only two of Majel's characters, but the computer voice to be on Enterprise is certainly there.
Yeah.
Although, will they make it more robotic sounding like it was in the original series?
I hope so.
I hope so too.
I
really do.
And I want it to look like a teletype machine.
Yes.
I don't care.
Oh yeah. That stuff was fun when they would say computer and they would go working. You're right. It was all.
Yeah.
That would be great. Yeah. Another one. I'm curious about what her storyline will be here. What her special will be. Just a lot to know about here. And how she's going to have a relationship with whomever is the chief medical officer.
Yeah. And I like that they've kept the white here for the nurse.
Yeah.
Like Discovery has.
Yes. Yep.
And then here we go. Babs Ellison Moken as Dr. Mbenga.
Yes.
Now this is interesting.
I am so excited about this.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But now we assume he's the chief medical officer. Now,
is he? Because what about Dr. Boyce?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we're a few years past the Cage, and Boyce was old then.
Yeah.
So he could easily have retired.
Right. Right.
He was.
Oh, we passed the Cage in this episode?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Cage would have been about 4 or 5 years before the Discovery episodes where Pike appeared, and then we're after this now.
And you'll remember that he, reconnected with
Vina.
Thank you.
Yeah.
In those episodes.
Yeah.
So another comment from R.L. Gray. I remember references to Dr. Mbenga in some of the books, but didn't remember his actual appearing on TOS. I've got to go back and look for him.
Yeah, that's in A Private Little War and That Which Survives are the episodes where he appears.
Yeah, R.L. Gray, you might remember in to Charles's point, A Private Little War is when Spock gets shot and is dying, and then it turns out Mbenga interned on Vulcan, and Vulcans, of course, Vulcans have this thing where they pretty much have to hang out until they're about to die and then fight their way. And there's the funny scene where basically he tells Nurse Chapel to do whatever Spock says, and she ends up having to slap him because the pain helps him concentrate. And there's memes going all over the internet where somebody's like, I can't wait till they can figure out a way to have everybody slapping Spock.
Right on. Right on.
But I love this version of the medical smock.
Yeah.
With the wider collar like McCoy would wear and like Mbenga would wear. I think this looks really good.
Yeah.
I think their attention to detail is really good from what we're seeing so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They put some thought into all this stuff.
Yeah, and they're towing the line between making it futuristic and making it sort of mid-century 60s inspired.
Right.
You know?
And I'm looking forward to Mbenga because as we're saying, he was only on screen for just a couple of minutes total in both episodes. But he had a presence even when he was there. He really came off like he knew what he was doing. You know what I mean? He didn't seem like a guest star who just walked on screen. Like I remember when he talked to Nurse Chapel when he walks out when Spock is unconscious and he says, if he says something, do whatever he says, and she says whatever he says, and he said, yes, that's clear enough, isn't it? So he had a way and authority about him. So I'm looking forward to seeing how his character is going to be. This was a surprise. I did not know that he was coming.
Although we did speculate.
We did.
Correctly, I will say, about this character. So.
But we didn't speculate correctly about the ones that are coming up next.
No.
Well, heck, how could we?
I mean, there's no way we could have guessed this.
This is what
even if we had guessed Andorian, we would never have guessed Enar.
No, we would not have guessed Enar.
No.
Exactly.
But he looks great.
This is really an interesting addition.
And I've been sort of deep diving into Bruce Horak this week and listening to podcast interviews with him and things. He's a legally blind actor, artist, musician, writer. He paints portraits. He's 90% blind. He has 10% vision in one eye. Wow. And even that's tunnel visioned with floaters. And I mean, he navigates with a cane.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm really intrigued to see this character played by someone who's really blind, who really has those experiences and can bring that to it.
Yeah. When you look at the trailer, the Strange New Worlds, where all the people introduce themselves, they say, I'm so-and-so and I'm playing. When you see him, you can tell because one of his eyes looks like it's cloudy, almost like someone who has cataracts.
Well, he has one artificial eye. He had a childhood cancer in his eyes, and one of them's been replaced. But just a really inspiring guy. I'd recommend everybody look into him because he's going to be a big fixture of Star Trek.
Wow.
So he has an artificial eye, and then his remaining eye he doesn't have full vision in that eye.
Right. I think it's 10% in that eye. And I this is from memory, so feel free to read it from his own words, because I'm new to knowing about him, but I'm really intrigued by this character and to see what they do with it. And I think this is a great pull. I mean, you never would have guessed Enar, but we've seen so many Andorians in recent years that pulling an Enar is a great choice, I think.
Exactly, because Andorians are aggressive, warlike, but the Enar don't seem to be as such. They seem to be more peaceful, and then they're telepathic, and there's a lot of possibilities with the telepathic powers that he has.
Oh yeah.
So
he's going to be the Troy of this show.
I'm wondering. That's a good point. Yeah, I'm kind of wondering about that, and being a member of a seclusive, peace-loving Andorian instead of the warlike Andorian, he probably has a very different perspective than someone like Shran who'd be on the ship.
Oh yeah,
right.
But also remember, Enar have a big taboo against reading people's minds without permission.
Yes,
that might create an interesting conflict if he could read the enemy's mind, but he won't.
And gets ordered to.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I just also want to say what modern Trek has really sort of established a solid track record of how do I describe it? Physically challenged actors. Not only Bruce here, but the whole unfolding saga with Ken Mitchell on Discovery, and he's done voices on Lower Decks as well, that they have made a way. I mean, we sort of got that with Geordi in Next Gen, but this is like the actuality. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm really, really impressed with the way that they are finding ways to fold folks like this into the storyline.
Oh yeah, and even not just the people who are differently abled, but people who are just letting people be representative of themselves. You know what I mean? Whether it's a difference of gender or a difference of sexuality or a difference of
vision,
physical abilities. Yeah, it's I love that, because we've had obviously blind characters on Star Trek before, but not played by a blind actor.
Right.
And then we've got Christina Chong as La'an Noonien Singh.
Now we knew the name La'an because we commented on that, sounding like it was another Roddenberry property.
Right.
And I can't remember the name of the
Earth Final Conflict.
Yes, Final Conflict. It sounded like one of those kind of names, but we never would have guessed Noonien Singh.
No,
as a surname.
I want to know what the heck they're going to do with that.
Right.
My guess is that because we see the last picture we just showed was an Enar, which comes from Enterprise, but just before that on Enterprise you have the Augment arc. So I'm wondering if this ties in with the Augment.
Right. I mean that seems to really fall in place.
Yeah, and that could be too that Khan just had spread his space seat around back on 20th century Earth and left a lot of kids behind.
Did you say spread his space seat around? Because that's definitely a joke I would have made.
It looks like she's talking to the Enar in this shot with the long white hair.
Or that could be
Chapel. It looks like, that's what I think. It looks like
that's Chapel. True. It's Chapel.
Yeah.
I'm really I don't even know with this one. I have no idea where they're going with it, because to your point, in the continuity they've established, augmented people are not allowed to be in Starfleet.
Right.
So there's a question about that. And then in the original series, here's the thing. I was doing that thing where I'm not that guy who's a stickler. But at one point I was thinking, well, in the original series they didn't know about Khan and them surviving, but then that was only the people who escaped. So to your point, that doesn't mean that Khan didn't leave descendants behind. Progeny. And then of course there was only 70 or 80 of all the augments that escaped. So there were a lot left on Earth. I'm just not sure how. I'm curious how they're going to use her, how Singh. Maybe if I'd done it, I wouldn't have used Khan's direct descendant. But hey, I'm interested to see how it's going to work out. I literally don't know.
Or it could be that she's taken this name for some reason. There's a lot of story potentials here. Now, I will point out too, there was a fan film a few years ago called Star Trek Renegades that had a character named Lexa Singh as the main character. She was the captain, and and the storyline was she was a descendant of Khan, which I don't think they got this from that. But I thought it was kind of cheesy at the time, and I still think this has the opportunity to be pretty cheesy if done wrong. So I'm hoping that they pull this off.
That's where I am too. I'm a little, I don't want to say skeptical, but this is the one that I'm kind of like, it's a reach back that a callback that I'm a little concerned about. But again, I'll just go along for the ride and see what they do.
To me, it's like one too many callbacks.
Yeah.
Like we've already got, 3 or 4 major ones. Do we need yet another?
Yeah. And I will say too, even if it is too cheesy, as long as someone yells "La on" at some point, then I'll forgive it. I'll let it happen.
R.L. Gray, that I may have come in earlier and I missed it, but he says that he is unfamiliar with the Enar, having not seen most of Enterprise, and pulled up Thalen on Memory Alpha.
Yeah, Thalen was my thought when we first saw him, that it was going to be a Thalen thing, and I realized it wasn't.
Yeah. So I just want to say to Rob, my buddy, watch Enterprise, because I love that show.
And if you want to just watch this one episode, it's called The Enar, so you can find it pretty easy.
I mean, yeah,
that was in the creative naming time.
But it's part of a multi-episode, like a 2 or 3 parter. So you'd want to see the whole couple of things there.
You're right, Alan, because without spoiling too much, the Romulans are involved. And we also find out that the Enar have incredible telepathic powers, at least with each other. They can communicate across light years, although, again, not any spoilers. There were some enhancements, almost like Professor X with Cerebro, but they seem to be really telepathically powerful. They can even cast illusions with their minds, as a matter of fact. So a lot of, it's interesting if you think about that. You have a Vulcan, Spock, or half Vulcan. You have an Enar, and you have a possible descendant of Khan. So you got like a bunch of super beings on this ship.
Yeah, you do.
Various powers.
Yeah.
That could be interesting.
Well, when was Khan augmented? Like, could he have had
in the 1990s? Well, that's when the eugenics wars were.
But in his life, I think she means.
Oh,
right. So she could be like a super duper extended descendant of him before he was augmented.
Wait,
no.
Well,
I think he descended.
Yeah, he was a product of selective breeding, if you want to be technical. So he would have had his abilities his entire life. But now, if she's a descendant of Khan from when he was in the 20th century, that could be watered down. She could have far less superhuman strength and that sort of thing, as opposed to being an augment, like in the augment episode where they were in test tubes and they just birthed them.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Good point. I like that watered down.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're
well, you're
100 years removed from
exactly.
Yeah.
And then we have the one like truly original character, as far as we know.
Although I want to. I'm sorry, I had to interject. I want to point out that in the original Star Trek pitch, Jose Tyler's name was Jose Ortegas, and then they changed that before the cage to be Jose Tyler. So I think the last name is a pull from the original.
I forgot about that. So basically, every one of these characters is a callback to something.
Right.
That's a little boring. I mean, that's just overreaching. It seems to me. Well, it doesn't diminish my excitement for this show.
Yeah. They're certainly trying to get as much Star Trek in there as they can.
They are trying to connect to legacy fans in every way possible.
Right. But yeah, I love that we've got a Latinx character for the first time in I don't know how long. And I'm looking forward to her because she seems very entertaining of what I've seen of her. She's a comedian and an actor.
One thing I like about this is, again, back looking at the trailer where all the actors announced themselves. She was cool because she said, she mentions her character and she goes, I can finally say this. So she felt like she was holding on thing. And the gentleman who played the Enar, he was tearing up when he was talking about the opportunity he's gotten. And so, and Anson Mount seemed really kind of, he seemed excited about it. They really seemed like they were excited about doing this. I think there's a genuine excitement I noticed from them both on the panel on Star Trek Day and from the trailer. They really seemed like they're really excited about that.
Oh yeah. And I'm excited for them. I'm excited to see it because this is my kind of show. I hope.
Right on.
If you don't mind, real quick, one other real quick comment is in the Star Trek Day, the Goldsmith and the other gentleman, they were talking about how Anson Mount emerged as kind of a leader in real life, as in a leader among the actors, not just as Pike. And they talked about that they literally kind of, in some ways, they kind of tailored his character and even his quarters to Anson Mount's personality as a leader. Yeah. And it was funny before they said that, I noticed that when they came out, Anson Mount didn't talk a lot. And I thought and I thought, you know what, I just thought before they said that, I said, he comes off like a real leader because he's letting the other people talk. He's not trying to hog it. And I thought, I can really see why this actor was chosen to play Christopher Pike. He does have a presence about him.
Yeah, he does.
And they mentioned also that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. They mentioned also in that trailer that they organized Pike's cabin around his table, and that he's a captain who cooks and serves, and like that's the sort of a meeting point for his officers.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
I heard that, and I thought, I hope he's not going to do those nasty omelets like Riker did in that one episode of TNG. Here we go, Alan.
What, Prodigy?
Yeah,
baby.
Yeah,
I know you've been looking forward to this one, right?
Absolutely. Oh,
and again, on this one, I didn't try to get every single image in here. I just sort of
that's okay
because there's a lot.
It is a lot. It is. That's true.
But I wanted to start with this one because, for one, you see the new comm badge. That has sort of the command star integrated into it, which I think is kind of cool. But the star reminds me of the Red Squad logo, but the Red Squad logo is sideways. So I'm wondering if it's like a cadet type thing for this badge, or if this is the official Star Trek badge at this. You know what I mean? But I also wanted to point out that it cannot be a coincidence that this Telluride is dressed like Bebop from the Ninja Turtles. He has the hair and the glasses and the vest. They are deliberately dressing this Telluride like Bebop from the Ninja Turtles.
I will say the trailer definitely played up the humor. It showed me that this is definitely a show, I don't want to say aimed toward younger people and more humor based. I definitely got that. And I will say also it looks gorgeous.
Oh my gosh, it looks incredible.
Is it? Yeah, it's just gorgeous.
And the landscapes are just mind blowing.
Yeah,
but the character designs. I mean, you get so much of the characters just from just from even these stills,
right? Because
so much character into them,
right? Because even when the first character sketches were released, in discussing them, we sort of nailed down what all these characters were going to be just based on the way that they were illustrated in those one still images.
Right.
Good point. That's true.
So they've really done a great job of like capturing the personality of each character.
Yeah. And I love that we're starting to see them now at their stations.
Yes.
Yeah.
And figuring it out. The first thing we find out is our Medusa navigator is not such a great pilot because he's crashing the Galaxy Quest style trying to take off.
Right.
Yeah. So have you ever actually flown a ship before? I love his outfit though, his containment suit or whatever you call it.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I love the look of these displays. They look very appropriate for just past the Star Trek era that we're familiar with.
Yep.
I thought it was interesting here that they had Gwen tied up in the captain's chair.
Yes.
I guess she doesn't come willingly with them at first.
Yeah.
But I love there's a scene here too where they lose gravity. And you can see him floating here, but you can see here where Murph just sort of sticks to the floor.
Yes.
Great ability to have.
Yeah, there he is. But I like the look of the ship looks good. And shots like this, like, are these tentacles coming out of the clouds, or are they plants? I'm not dinosaurs. I don't know.
Right. I couldn't tell either.
Yeah. But like I said, these landscapes remind me of the old like James Blish covers, like of those James Blish novels.
That's exactly what I was thinking too.
Yeah,
that's a good call. Yeah, I do like the design of the ship too.
Yeah,
as you said,
very sleek.
Yeah,
I kind of dig the idea of coming into a Star Trek show from the outside. Characters who, as far as we can tell, have no connection to Starfleet. Exactly right, and that's basically the premise of the show. That it's a group of characters who have no idea about what Star Trek is.
Yeah, like what's Starfleet? Yeah, what's Earth?
Right.
And that's the role that the Janeway hologram plays in it, to introduce the audience through these characters about what Star Trek is and what Starfleet is, and I think it's great.
And Dal mentioned in the panel, the actor who plays Dal mentioned that Dal doesn't even know what species he is.
Wow.
Oh,
so it's sort of a discovery for him as well. So I would expect it's not going to be something boring when we find out.
Right.
Yeah, some warlike race, and he's a scion of the crown or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
What is that?
That's that Dreadnought. Is that his name? The evil robot
Dreadnought.
assassin. Yeah,
exactly.
He's after him. Yeah,
Okay.
he's the henchman for the bad guy.
Yes.
He's the one chasing him.
He reminds me of a character from Marvel Comics called Annihilus.
Okay.
Who's like this giant insect creature thingamajiggy.
Yeah.
Because it kind of reminds me of.
Mm.
There you go. I love that. I just really love that containment suit for the for him, for the Medusan.
For them, I think the Medusa is the non-binary one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
Them. You know, it's something else when RL was just mentioning about coming in from the outside, and these are characters who aren't part of Starfleet. It seems to me like this is almost a dovetail with that idea that's been floating around for years and years, which is doing a Starfleet Academy where you had all cadets who are learning what it is to be in Starfleet.
And that's still in the works, apparently.
Yeah, he's still talking. He talked about it on Star Trek Day.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Oh, gosh.
Yeah,
so they
absolutely.
may still do that. Interesting.
So that one is, I mean, I expect once these ones that are in production now, after that, there should be the Section 31 show with Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah.
But that Starfleet Academy thing is still hanging out there.
Yeah. I mean, and Picard, I wouldn't expect to go much past season 3. I know Patrick Stewart doesn't want to do this for the rest of his life.
No.
Right.
But also Discovery is going into season 5. So they need to be planning now for the shows they're going to replace those shows.
Yeah.
And now this screen cap I made sure I got for Alan. Alan, is this a Kazon?
Kazon. Oh, bad hair.
Yeah, that was the fear when you find out that this show is going to be basically set in the Delta Quadrant. That you're going to run into these idiots.
But we might have said that about the Pakleds, though. And look what doing with them.
Yeah,
I know. I'm absolutely willing to see what they do with them, and it's going to be something good, I'm sure. So I'm not worried about it.
I'm also curious if this little character next to him is an Ocampin. It doesn't look much like one, but that was my first thought. It looks like he had sort of a child-looking character with him.
It looks kind of like a rabbit.
You're right. It does, but that could be the angle as well.
Yeah.
And then more just beauty shots of the ship. I love how it comes out. That's when it's coming in for the landing, and it lands on this little strut.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's supposed to do that or if they just don't know what they're doing.
I don't think it's supposed to do that.
I don't think so.
You need a bigger skid than that.
Yeah.
And then this was from the Matrix, I guess, but it's pretty intriguing. And then our bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who they've said is inspired by Khan, at least in the performance. Yeah. Which all Star Trek bad guys are inspired by Khan, so that's not news.
I mean, you gotta pull from the best.
Yeah. I think they've said that on every movie since like Star Trek 5. And I love the little bit of coming up where she looks like she breaks free. But then they have this cute little bit where they say, push the pew pew button.
I love that.
I don't see a pew pew button.
Well, just push buttons until something goes pew pew.
Right. That's why the 8-year-old's your tactical officer.
Right.
Right. And then he goes, yeah, we got phasers now. He was really into it.
Oh, yeah. And we get sort of cockpit view of the bridge, which has that sort of clear canopy over it, which is interesting. And they're sort of doing one better than the view screen window.
Yeah.
And it's some great shots of Janeway. And notice that Janeway has that new badge on, that new Starfleet badge with the star on it. And then I guess this is red alert because it doesn't look good.
Yep.
Something's wrong. But that's it. Star Trek Prodigy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Man.
I'm excited. Yeah. It looks certainly different from what we've gotten so far.
And the launch date for this is November 18th. Which is a little bit of an overlap with Discovery Season 4, which starts October 18th.
Right? Yeah, it's right around the 18th, corner.
Right?
Yeah, yeah. And then, like I said, just a few weeks, and then you're going to have both shows on.
Yeah.
Which is, we haven't had 2 Star Trek shows on the same week since DS9 ended? I was 18 years old at that time, so that was 22 years ago. I'm 40 now. I mean, it's been a while since we've had.
It has been a while,
so I'm excited.
Wow. So which of these properties are y'all looking forward to the most?
Every one of them. I mean, Every time I look at a trailer or see an image or whatever, I think that's the one I'm most excited about. But it's always a different thing. I mean, I'm super excited about Disco 4. But all of them.
Yeah. I'm excited about all of them in different ways. I would say my top one is Strange New Worlds, just because I'm such a TOS nut. But
well, that and because it's going to be a different format. It's going to be, story of the week, episodic presentation. It's not going to be an overall, although there will be character arcs. There's not supposed to be an overall story arc. That's one story for the season. So I'm very much looking forward to a return to that kind of classic format and a difference in presentation from the rest of the series.
Yeah. It's exciting looking. I mean, I love that we're getting all these different shows and they're so different from each other.
Absolutely. That's the key part. I'm really interested because Strange New Worlds, they're still not nailing down a time. Picard season 2 is in February,
right?
So that should be right after Disco and Prodigy and those things end. And then, so theoretically, we'll have Strange New Worlds right after, or not too long after Picard runs its course. So, man, that's a long stretch of Trek.
It's a
and
nice
then maybe by then we'll have Lower Decks season 3.
Oh yeah, easily. I mean, you got to figure that they're pushing toward a model where there's never not Trek.
I mean, they want the Trek fans to stay subscribed.
Right. Exactly.
I was a little surprised that they're overlapping.
Me too.
With Prodigy,
me too. And I wonder what their thought process is for that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I was going to say that because they have a Nickelodeon deal as well, maybe they have certain demands that Nickelodeon needs, but that wouldn't explain why Discovery's coming out while Prodigy's on. So that's a stupid theory. So I don't know.
No, it's not. I mean, Discovery hits first. Maybe they wanted to keep Prodigy for after that, but Nickelodeon was like, no, we want to do it here. So I don't know. So your theory could absolutely be correct.
Maybe. I don't know. It's exciting though. I'm just glad to have Star Trek on, and they seem to have good creators. I love just watching like Mike McMahon talk about Lower Decks or Akiva Goldsman talk about Strange New Worlds because they're so excited about what they're doing. Akiva Goldsman just on Twitter the other day. Oh, he showed this on the red carpet that he had posted on Twitter on Star Trek Day. The schedule he brought home that was the sort of the hand type schedule for the Star Trek convention he went to in 1974. And it's nice. Look for that on his Twitter, and it's names like Fred Phillips and DC Fontana. It's just a pretty great weekend of programming as far as I could tell. But he's been a fan of Star Trek since he was a kid, and now that he's in charge of Strange New Worlds, it's really exciting. And really, the Lower Decks guys, I just would watch a show about them.
Yes.
Just talking to each other.
They could just sit there and riff.
They're just entertaining.
Right.
Yeah.
So really quickly though, we got a new trailer for the second half of Lower Decks.
I didn't pull screen caps from that.
That's okay. That's okay because we're about at an hour. So
I know.
So what are y'all thinking about? Did you catch anything in that trailer that you weren't expecting? Anything that's a new revelation? What does it make you think about what's coming up in the second half of the season?
The exciting thing for me was that the Pandronian, the Bem character, the ship's like in trouble, and all of her body parts are just tumbling around.
Places. I saw that too. I am
really looking forward to that.
Yeah,
I'm loving that. I'm loving that they're pulling so much from the animated series for this show.
Yeah,
I mean, as much as they have pulled from the original and from TNG, I'm loving that they're doing so much from the animated series because it needs to get its due.
Yeah, just integrate it with the rest of Star Trek.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. I thought the same thing too when I saw that character, Charles. I know when we talked about that character, we were joking about how does Bim's body parts float on their own. I'm waiting for a joke to be done in the show about that. I know they're going to say that at some point in time.
Yep.
It may be something like you don't ask them that question.
Yeah, probably. Could be.
Yeah.
What was you excited about, Veronica?
I mean, a lot of the stuff was like things we'd already seen little clips of, and then we just got a little bit more of it. So there wasn't like one thing that made me super excited. I mean, like I'm always excited to watch Lower Decks every week. So
we didn't get a trailer for Discovery.
Right.
True.
So was there anything in the panel part of it that came out as like new information or something that really stood out to you as notable?
I don't think so.
The one thing
they didn't give away much.
No, the one thing I do say is Wilson Cruz had mentioned that he promised that Gray would be corporeal, and he fulfills his promises.
Yep.
He didn't say he fulfilled his promise or will fulfill, but he said he indicated that it will happen because he makes sure to follow up on his promises. So that was the one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody wants that.
Yeah.
Just everybody.
Yeah.
I did. I think it was in the panel or maybe in the red carpet when they were talking about. They're excited that people they can actually look at Gray now and don't have to like mess up a take because they accidentally looked at Gray.
Right.
I'm excited for that whole little Stamets family. I think they're delightful, and I want to see more of them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Agreed.
Yeah, and apparently, Wilson Cruz has known Mary Chieffo since she was little.
Really?
That's what he said. Yeah.
They were on the carpet, and he was talking about how excited he was and how proud of her he is because she just recently came out and has a girlfriend and everything, and was mentioning, hey, I've known you since you were a little kid or something. I'm really curious to find out more about that. I haven't put any effort into it of finding it out.
But you figure at some point the information will come to you.
At some point, I will be like, oh yeah, I wanted to look at this up, and I will actually go do it.
I'm just surprised to find out Mary Chieffo was ever little because she's humongous.
She is a tall lady.
Yes.
I love that. We haven't seen Mary on screen for a while in a Star Trek capacity, but that she has stayed so involved.
Oh yeah.
She made that Klingon punk song music video. She's in the Voyager documentary. I mean, I think it's really cool that she has latched onto this Trek connection.
And she mentioned on the red carpet that she's making her girlfriend watch DS9. So it's not just when she's getting paid; she's just at home still into Star Trek.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool. Okay, so any final thoughts about any of this stuff, either from our panelists or from our viewing audience of one at the moment? What do you say, y'all?
I'm just really excited to see everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you guys, like Charles and Alan especially. Yeah, I've been watching Trek since the original series. And I remember the excitement when the first movie came out, the motion picture. I remember the excitement when Next Generation came out. And to your point, Charles, I remember the heady time when you had a whole bunch of Star Trek on television, when you still had TNG just ending, and you had Deep Space Nine, and you had Voyager. And this feels like that time again. That was a really exciting time, and it feels like that again. It's great to be excited. It's kind of cool because if you don't love one of them, you can have another. And I know a lot of people dislike Picard and Discovery for several reasons. Now you've got Strange New Worlds, and if you like something really lighthearted, you've got Lower Decks, and you've got Prodigy, and so it's something for everybody. Now I love them all, like you said, Alan. I love them all. But it's something for everybody. So I think that's great. Exactly. It'll keep the older fans and bring in newer fans, and I think that's fantastic.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah, and like it is like the '90s again, except for we have a much better communication about the show and with the people. Because I used to sit through Entertainment Tonight for a 2-minute puff piece at the end from someone who doesn't know anything about Star Trek.
Same here. Same here.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
All right. So my final thought is that I'm wearing our Earth.
I was going to wear mine.
T-shirt. Well, you didn't.
No, because it's still in the laundry basket from Dragon Con.
I did my laundry already.
Laundry.
But I just want to say, anybody who watches this live or watches this later on, if you want one of these awesome shirts, you can get it by going to TeePublic, TEE Public, and it's on the Earth Station 1 shop, where you can find shirts and items from all the different ESO shows, and including ours. So there you go.
Yep. And listen to our podcast if you don't listen to it. If you're discovering us on YouTube, we have a podcast that's been going since the start of the year, and we have a lot of fun. We talk about Star Trek.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's a good thing we like Star Trek so much.
Yeah. And find us on Facebook. We like to talk to you there too.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you can email us at earthstationtrek@gmail.com. And we love to read emails and Facebook messages and tweets and stuff from our listeners on our podcast.
Yeah.
And we also do a question of the week, even though we didn't do one last week because we kind of ran out of time for it. We do a question of the week. So if you have a question that you want to throw to us, crazy question, funny question, serious question, anything, let us know and we will feature it on one of our episodes.
Do we have a question we can do today, Alan?
Sure. You want to do one?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can do the one that I was going to do on our last podcast episode.
Hooray!
Since we started out last podcast talking about Dragon Con, which had just happened. The question I was going to feature comes from Jude Everett Kane, and he wanted to know what our favorite Star Trek convention is to attend. I want to extend that, though, to what's your favorite one you've ever attended?
Oh, gosh.
Well, unfortunately, I got to go first. I've pretty much only been to Dragon Con, so that's kind of it for me. So,
okay.
Dragon Con.
That's really hard because I mean
I can see the concentration on your face.
Yeah,
you are really putting some effort into this.
Dragon Con is just like its own special, giant, wonderful thing, and I've been going every year since 2001.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite Star Trek convention is Treklanta.
Yes.
Which is here in Atlanta, and it's just a small local convention, and you get. I mean, I got to meet Aaron Eisenberg there.
Yeah.
You get a lot of one-on-one time with.
Yes.
You know, with the guests, and it's just a great little community of people.
Yeah, that's the reason I was
giant and overwhelming like Dragon Con is. It's
yeah.
just you know, a few rooms in a hotel and just some Star Trek fans who want to have fun, and there's always a lot of Klingons there.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't see Klingons as much at Dragon Con anymore.
Yeah, there's a strong local contingent of Klingons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've been to one other than Dragon Con. I haven't been to one in a long time. I started going back in the 80s. I remember seeing Marina Sirtis there right after the first season of TNG, and I remember seeing George Takei one time, and right after Voyager launched, I saw Mulgrew, where she told the whole story of how she became Captain Janeway. And it was from her that I learned how to pronounce the name Genevieve. Genevieve Bujold.
Okay.
And that's like my favorite name. But I remember there was I don't remember who it was. It was somebody from the production office who there was some convention somewhere in the world. I used to work for a publishing company, and we would go to conventions all over the country. And at one of these things, he would come every year and give updates, like preview of the coming season of Next Gen. And this was going into season 3. And he was doing like still images from all the upcoming episodes. And I remember coming up to the one with the Ferengi and Lwaxana, and it's got a funny title.
Menage a Troy.
Menage a Troy. The title got a big laugh from the audience. Seeing Majel back as Lwaxana got a big cheer from the audience. And then the next one was the episode where Mark Leonard comes back as Sarek, and that got a huge cheer. So it kind of felt like season 3 was really like this big sort of launch point for Next Gen. Like it was really coming into its own. Yeah. And it was like you could just tell from just images of upcoming episodes that hadn't aired yet how strong that season was going to be. So it was really, that was one of my favorite Trek experiences.
Wow.
So there you go. Long story.
Did you ever come up with an answer?
Yeah. So
I tried to give you plenty of time.
There's because there's so many, but I'm gonna go with old school Dragon Con, like when it was just the Marriott and the Hilton. This is probably like 2003, 2004, and I really only knew TNG. And this was back when the dealer's room and the Walk of Fame were in that little teeny tiny place where they do the photo ops now. And I remember walking through there, and I remember seeing Marina Sirtis and why am I blanking on his name? Geordi.
No, LeVar Burton.
LeVar Burton. And they were just sitting there talking. I was like, So okay,
That's
so that's
funny.
my first Star Trek convention memory. So I'm gonna go with that one. I'm gonna go with Dragon Con,
Okay.
classic Dragon Con,
Awesome.
Dragon Con.
All right, well that wraps that.
All right.
So
where can people find more of you on the internet?
I was like, we all start talking at once now.
Well, you can find me at cosmicpress.com. And since we're visual, I don't have to spell it out for people. It's right there on the screen. Look at that.
And how about you, Keith?
You can find me on Instagram and the ESO Network Facebook groups.
And how about us, Veronica?
Feltdirty.com.
Yeah.
Alan, you didn't try. You didn't even try.
I've given up on that. No.
Oh,
and do you have an outro, Veronica?
Oh, no. No.
Huzzah!
That was a good one. Huzzah. There you go.
Yeah, huzzah. There we go.
All right, y'all.
Bye.
Thanks everybody for watching. Thank you, RL Gray, for putting in a bunch of comments.
Yes.
We will be back. So this going out live Sunday evening. We'll be back tomorrow morning with a new podcast episode. And you can catch us every Monday on our Facebook group. We put out a link to our podcast. You can find us on podbean.com and every Monday. So there you go. That's it.
All right. Bye, guys.
Take care, everybody.
Bye. Bye.